Alright. Hey, buds. Sorry I had to start late. I had so many fucking issues with quality settings, and also I was just here late because me and wife were watching What If, but anyway, I'm here. We are going to finish Sir Brante tonight. It'll be good. If I have to go, like I said this morning, if I have to go over, that's fine. I'd prefer not to, but if I have to, I will. I'm really just counting on finishing this game today, though. If it gets absurd, like if I get to like 11 p.m. and I still haven't finished it, I might like finish it this weekend or something, but yeah, I don't think that'll happen, but we'll see. But yeah, let's get it pulled up. Hold on a second. Let me make sure. Yeah. Top right, top right. Okay. Let's get this going. Okay, let's turn off the music. Some nice Oblivion music. Y'all will get more of that soon. Wink. Alternatively, if I finish this within like an hour, I'll probably start something else. Alright. We be ready. Volume levels should be good. Should be right where we need them. Because I looked back at the VOD from this morning and it seemed pretty decent, so no complaints. Alright, we're moving into the Revolt, which, as you can tell, is noticeably shorter than peacetime. Let's get into it. So, in case people forgot, somehow, I just convicted Otten. The common people seem pretty happy with it. The nobles are probably horrified. I'm not sure how that's gonna, you know, affect things going forward, but we'll find out together. Oh, I need to... Hold on, I'm sorry. I need to plug up my phone real quick. Always gotta have it at the ready in case someone has an emergency. You never know. Okay. Let's do it. Okay.
At last, the day has come which would decide my fate, as well as that of my family, and perhaps the entire empire. The day of the Revolt.
Okay, so the revolt begins. Word about the sentence you passed upon the Archnean commander instantly spreads throughout Anazat. The commoners are celebrating. For the first time, the law has proven to be more powerful than the ancient authority of the Archneans. All over the city, triumphant crowds are assembling. The people praise Judge Brante and declare an end to their oppression. The outcries become more daring by the hour. Freedom from tyranny. Down with the noble yoke. The authorities anxiously observe the people's reverie. Elborn receives orders from the magistrate to disperse the crowds with gendarmes, but he refuses to do so on the grounds that the people are unarmed and assembling peacefully. Elverman is livid. The animosity among the ruling circles is quickly transforming into naked enmity. Of course this happens. Humiliated, Otten refuses to comply with his sentence and go into exile. The city is on the brink of a revolt. Sorry, I just spit everywhere. Whatever that dishonorable court may have decided, my duty is to remain in Magra and stop this maddened mob. The nobility of Anazat eagerly gather under Otten's banners. Outraged by his sentence, they assemble a militia ready to quell the disturbance with force. The news that Otten has refused to comply with the court's sentence infuriates the common folk. The crowds in the squares become larger. Gangs of armed commoners take to the streets. Remy Elverman is already dead, his life taken by a verdict of the People's Court. What? He was strangled by the mob that broke into the city hall. The Chancellor's lifeless body now just hangs outside the windows of his office for all to see. I'm sorry, this is escalating very quickly. Wow. Oh. There's no stopping the revolt now. But you know that after Otten's trial, your name carries weight in the eyes of the commoners. How will you use their support at this crucial moment? Yeah, he's fucking dead. Yeah. Shit. Okay, I have trust with the common folk. Nobles I have cautious support, clergy cautious support, troops, squad, whatever that means. And the revolt is currently at a stalemate. I think it seems like we kind of want to keep it at a stalemate. We don't want a bloodbath. I guess we could... Maybe we want the rebels to win, but we don't want a bloodbath. That's definitely the truth. Interesting. This is going to be an interesting chapter. Okay.
Rank up. Hold the line.
Wolfie!
This hamlet shall not fall.
Coming in with the second raid in a... Well, second night of raiding in a row. Thank you so much, bud. It's good to see you, bud. Good to see you. I'm calling you bud too much. How you doing tonight? How was your stream? For years now, Anazat has been simmering like a cookpot over a slow flame. Once again, that metaphor. The powerlessness of the simple folk, unable to change the old order, has gradually given way to rage. Finally, this anger became stronger than their age-old submission to the higher estate and their fear of divine retribution. Excuse me. This rage was the spark that lit the fire of the revolt. Had some issues with Twitch Studio and had to switch over to the OBS. Ah, the superior streaming service. All of Anazat's commoners have risen up in rebellion. Workers, artisans, merchants, beggars. They all long to break free of noble tyranny and the perpetual suffering that is their lot. Welcome back, Emmy. What you got for Din Din, bud? The most daring among them have joined the last straw. The secret society has sent entire squads of trained soldiers out into the streets. They hand out guns and bombs to the people, weapons that give them a chance to wage war on equal footing against noblemen descended from generations of warriors. Jesus fuck. This is escalating so quickly. Jasmine rice with cheese, steamed kale, adobo soy curls. I'm not the biggest fan of kale, but everything else sounds delicious. Especially that cheese. But the most dangerous weapon the rebels possess is the People's Court. The commoners have claimed the right to sentence their enemies to true death. The first nobles executed by the last straw this very night served as proof that these sentences are real. For the first time in the history of the Empire, the divine force of law is in possession not only of the noblemen, but also of the common estate. Among the rebels are many new believers. They are ready to take up arms to defend their faith and freedom from the Lots. They are led by Leonard, the abbot of the temple by the silver tree. Need to get some cheesy rice? Dude, cheesy rice is fucking bomb. There was one time, I went to my Japanese class, and she was just like, what do y'all put on your rice? And it was like, my classmates were like, oh, I put egg, I put chicken, I put pork. I don't know, some guy, I put octopus. Good for you. And then I was like, I put cheese. And like, my Japanese teacher was like, cheese? You put cheese on your rice? Of course, I was saying like, she was like, what do you put on gohan? And I was like, chizu no gohan is sugoi. And she was, S, I'm sorry. S. Wa. That's it. Chizu no gohan wa sugoi. Yes, that's what I said. Prefect Elborn's allegiance remains unknown. Okay. The Supreme Judge has taken such pains to give the lowly estate more rights. Will he support a revolt that strives to do the same? I don't know, it's pretty fucking violent. Anazat has recently been rocked by a series of spontaneous assemblies and protests. Hey, Naomi. I assume you came with Wolfie. Good to meet you. You're half AFK, that's totally fine. I'm just glad to have you here. Recently been rocked by a series of spontaneous assemblies and protests. The mob demands equal rights for all estates and freedom from the tyranny of the nobles. The authorities might recognize the new faith and grant, or must recognize the new faith and grant the commoners the right to choose their own lot. Hey, welcome in, Andy. Good to see you, bud. Naomi, it's almost 1:20 for you. Well, it's a pleasure to have you, but if you gotta get some sleep, go get some sleep. Stream's going well. I mean, I just started like 15 minutes ago, so, you know, it's going well. But basically, this is just where this is a book where I provide an audio book for all of my listeners. This is a stream where I provide an audiobook for all my listeners. Did I say this is a book where I provide an audiobook? God, speaking's hard sometimes. Okay. By nightfall, the rebels had disposed of the guards and taken over the city gate. In a matter of minutes, Anazat was under their control. It is the duty of Overseer Gaius Tempest to crush the revolt. The Archnean nobleman feared for his own position and power, so he was reluctant to punish the rebellious city as discontent slowly grew year by year. But the ensuing uprising has left him no choice. The Overseer has announced a full-scale mobilization. Oh shit. Audiobook, that's right. Might as well be. This is like a, I like to call it a westernized visual novel, so it's got like actual choices and some RPG elements, but it's still pretty much a visual novel, so it feels like an audiobook. At least that's how my viewers have been describing it. Okay. In the morning, the Legion will march toward Anazat under his command, in an attempt to return the city to Imperial authority with fire and sword. Hey, wife, it's going well. Everyone's asking me how it's going, but I just started. I mean, it's going well. Not much is happening. The expeditious arrival of the Legion is the only hope that the nobles have left now that they are locked inside the city. Members of the higher estate, especially the old aristocratic families, fear the coming rampage and strive to keep order on the streets. Meanwhile, the Inquisition led by Sister Jean is trying to stop the new believers and urging the people to reject the revolt.
Loyal devotee.
Naomi, I appreciate that follow. If you're going to bed, that's totally fine. But yeah, you have a good night. Appreciate the lurk, appreciate the follow, appreciate it all. Thank you for asking how stream's going, Wolfie. It's going well. Okay, Hunbun, which cat do you want me to grab? Is Zelda here? No, she's not there. Zelda? Okay, let me find her. She's like almost always in here. Where is she? I'll be right back. I have a theory on where she is. Let me ask you. Or let me show you this, because this will be funny. So, she hides here. She hides behind those chairs. So I'm just going to shake it and she'll come running out. Well, maybe she wasn't there. Huh. What do you know? Well, I'll be back. Alright, Hunbun, I know you requested. She's not in the living room. I looked. I know you requested her. I could not find her, so here's Riley. He was very easy to find, so, you know. Gib kiss. No. You paid good money, did you? I missed that. Oh, you did. Once again, Emmy. If you redeem Kiss, you don't have to do it when someone has redeemed Animal. Like, you can redeem Kiss, it is both grab Animal and Kiss, but I'll do it for you. Hello, Riley. Oh, he hates it. Okay. But everyone grabs first. That's true. It's true. Wife just went to look for Zelda. If she finds her, I guess I'll show her too, but let's just proceed. Both groups are aware that if... Oh, I'm sorry, I need to put y'all back. I just realized that. Top right, top right. There we go. Both groups are aware that if the rest of the province follows Anazat into rebellion and chaos, the Empire itself and the Divine Order will begin to crumble. After nightfall, the city grows quiet. Its courtyards and squares are empty. In mansions and palaces, hasty negotiations are held and schemes are concocted. In dark cellars, the revolt is being prepared, and armed units are gathering. Parishes are getting ready to defend the temples of the new faith against the Inquisition. All citizens, rich and poor, common and noble, are arming themselves. Some with ancestral swords, others with cleavers. Anazat is preparing, waiting for the dawn. As the Legion arrives for the assault, the rebels assemble into a militia and get ready to fend off the Imperial army. But there is little unity in their camp. Their leaders are already mired in a power struggle. They're also defenders of the Imperial Order. What? No! I told you!
No, just look around.
I did! I'm not finding her, I already looked. I'm streaming, man! They're also defenders of the Imperial Order within the city walls, members of the old aristocracy, soldiers of the Inquisition, priests of the old faith, commoners unwilling to defy the law in the Twins' design. These people, too, refuse to lay down their arms. The first rays of the rising sun light up the horizon. This day will go down in history. Your entire life has led you to this moment. Step by step, you have made yourself the man you are now. Your actions today could alter the course of history, but are you ready to go the distance? What will have become of you by the time the sun sets? Is this entire chapter one day? Fuck. Oh god. Oh wow, look at all these. The Legion can be defeated. There can be peace with the Overseer. Oh god. City is defended. The Revolt is defeated. The surrender of the Revolt. The Anazat massacre. Good god. Dark times. Neither side succeeds. Oh god.
She ran in here.
I'm not worried about it.
Redeemed it.
You got Riley.
I didn't even look. I've been up looking for her.
Well, I got him. Not my fault you weren't looking for your redemption.
Just pick her.
I hope you all know she slammed the gate with a smile on her face.
No, I did not.
Oh, yes, you did. What the fuck? Okay, there's a lot of stuff that can happen, so let's just start it. Yeah, I think the whole chapter is one day. Jesus, man. Mom and Dad are fighting. I promise it was a love fight. Our real fights are much more aggressive. The crimson sun slowly rises above the horizon. You make your way through a city in chaos, carefully observing what is happening on the streets. The rebellion is flaring up again after a night of calm. Once again, the commoners are taking to the squares in droves. The grim resolve in the rebels' eyes speaks volumes. No, I'm not finding her, hun. They are determined to seize their freedom or die trying. There are others, however, who are huddling inside their homes, locking their doors, and praying to survive the revolt unscathed. With every passing minute, you see more and more people carrying banners. You shouldn't have spent it then, hun. They bear a hand clutching a lantern, the mark of the last straw. The conspirators have left the shadows at last. They hand out guns to the common folk, using these last precious minutes to quickly teach them how to fire them. The artisans are on the streets too, cobbling together makeshift shields out of wood and nails to protect against the nobles and their blades. Fortunately for the rebels, the nobles remain divided. The old noble bloodlines have sided with Dorius Otten. The Archnian has sworn to bring down the revolt by any means necessary. His noble militia now stands guard in the Silver District, where the city's most eminent aristocrats have their homes. They represent the greatest threat to the revolt. Many nobles of the Mantle, however, are all too eager to violate their oath of fealty and side with the rebels. Though ennobled to serve the Empire, they no longer want to suffer under the boot of the high-born Archnians and human gentry. But there are many more who are still undecided. Soldiers and low-ranking officers of the Legion from the city's garrison, officials and functionaries. They have all found themselves caught between the Overseer's orders and the People's Revolt. Many of them are biding their time, hoping the Legion or the Prefecture will spring into action and quell the unrest. But the Prefecture has yet to react. The city prefect, Sir Elborn, still has not made it clear which side he is on. Even the clergy has been swept up in the strife. Abbot Leonard is gathering new believers for a procession to the Silver Tree, where the people will elect a new patriarch. Old believers, priests, and common folk who prefer to cling to the lots and save their souls stand in opposition. Even the Inquisition, whose duty it is to protect the Church of the Twin Gods against heresy, has been tainted by this schism. The true fight for the fate of Anazat will begin in a matter of hours. You've had 8 years to curry influence among the people of this city. It is time to put your connections to the test. Who can you sway to your side? Who will be willing to sacrifice their lives and fight for your cause? Apparently no one. Good lord. Okay. I am not Lotless. I'm not a priest. I have not been ennobled by the sword. Yeah, I just have to bide my time. This will be a long day indeed. It will take all of your wits and composure to do what must be done. You spend these last few hours of quiet, biding your time and mustering your strength. You keep your ear to the ground and plan your next move. The timing for this respite rest could not have been more perfect. The storm is yet to come. Both the defenders of the Imperial regime and the rebels need time to gather their forces for the pivotal clash. Gaius Tempest and the Legion will not arrive in Anazat until nightfall. Only then will the fate of the revolt be decided in the ultimate struggle. The Legion is already on the march toward the rebellious city. What can the rebels do to oppose it? Everything depends on how the conflicts of the day play out before the sun sets. The Prefecture and the gendarmes, will they pursue the rebels or take their side? Leonard's procession of new believers to the Silver Tree, will the people elect their first patriarch? The disjointed groups of insurgents, will they be able to unite? And if so, who will unite them? Your thoughts are interrupted. The sound of gunfire fills the city streets again. The lull is over. You can wait no longer. There we go. A fading light. Okay. Here we go. Big event happening. The sun rises higher and higher. Your carriage is hurtling down the street, making its way through the crowd with great difficulty. Many barricades have appeared overnight, made of old boards and rotten trash. Hold on. I need water. You have to reach the Prefecture as soon as you can. Fucking hell. Hun, you better be in chat. You better be in chat. Here she is. Yeah. You hated that, didn't you? You absolutely hated that. Okay, I'm putting her down. I don't know if wife was in chat, but I did it. Why has the kitty got better dance moves than you, Wolfie? Wolfie. I'm sorry if this ruins the illusion, but I was doing that. I was making her dance. I'm so sorry I had to spoil that for you. You have to reach the Prefecture as soon as you can. The gendarmes and judges' reaction to the revolt could be decided at any moment. Any word from Sir Elborn, no, even the slightest sign from him, could determine their allegiance. The Silver District is empty now, populated only by searing wind, sweeping light debris across the cobblestones. Ugh. There we go. What, did we find Zelda? I did find Zelda, yes. I showed her for a minute, I made her dance, and then I put her down. You smell smoke. A noble house must have been set on fire nearby. You hear hooves clattering in the distance. There's not a soul around. All you can hear is a fountain burbling in a small square, mixed with gentle, melodic laughter. Where was she? I don't know. She just kind of walked in the room, so I grabbed her. I don't know where she was, but she came in here. You yell for the carriage to stop. Those graceful movements, that clothing so light and airy, that thin, slender figure, playing and splashing in the water. The rays of the sun dance and glitter on its golden skin. That hot, carefree day flashes before your eyes. The sound of the carriage on the cobblestones, the handkerchief dropped on the ground. Does Octavia still remember how you first met? This creature, does it still have anything in common with the prideful Arcanian lady you met here all those years ago? The creature that was once Octavia's laughing, as though she cannot see the ruined streets around her. You come closer. You feel a strange, involuntary sense of calm next to this bizarre creature. There can be no hatred in her presence, no pain, no suffering. She raises her large, pitch-black eyes to you. Her voice rings with genuine elation. Do you see it all crumbling now? It's the old world dying, collapsing under its old weight. Do not fear it. It's not a bad thing. This is how it has to be. You live in the dream of the one called Octavia Melanidas, human who bears the name of Brante. This dream will soon end, and then it will all be gone. Your empire, your estates, your lots, your shining pillar. And you, human named Brante, will be gone too, and the great mind of the Lottari will leave this dream and move on, beyond all borders, beyond all limits. What great joy that moment will bring us. The creature that was once Octavia stretches her thin arms toward the horizon, where smoke already wafts against the backdrop of the sky. The screams of the rioting crowd are drawing closer. This being is not of this world, and is utterly helpless, especially here in Anazoth, in the middle of a rebellion. The fate of the woman you knew as Octavia Melanidas is in your hands now. Huh. Yeah, I guess I'll share a final moment with her. It seems like I have to. Or I just part with her, and that's just lame. You reach out to the creature that was once your lover. The thought that Octavia will never return makes your heart ache, but you accept her choice to leave. You take the being before you by a slender hand. Under your breath, you whisper a final farewell. The world created by the twins is a cruel one indeed. You understand why the Lottari would wish to leave it. Thanks to the ritual, you have sojourned beyond it yourself. What ritual? What? But there are still so many humans and Arcanians desperately locked in the chains of this existence, just as Octavia Melanidas once was. The Lottari must not depart from this world without leaving something behind, some shred of the truth she has worked so hard to unveil. The creature's large, pitch-black eyes close for a moment. When they open again, you see tears in them. What a terrible world the twins have created. The Lottari know how much they suffer from the flaws in their own creation. Those who live in this world must still have hope, even as their world burns around them. Their minuscule spark of life is not the only one in the universe. Weird. The Lottarian Ritual. You recall how it felt, and for a moment, the streets scarred by the uprising seem unreal to you. An unnatural composition made by chance out of hundreds of tiny particles, like an image in a kaleidoscope. It is quiet. Water splashes in the fountain. You gingerly put your hand on the strange being's golden shoulder. It is so warm. She strokes your head. You can barely feel her slim fingers. Octavia cared for you. You helped her break free from her cage. She mustn't leave without a trace. The end of this world is approaching. This we cannot change. However, we will leave a hidden path behind. A path to the Lottari. It is not your path, human named Brante. You are too tightly bound to your city, your goals, and your gods. You will never see us again. but we will remember you always, Lucius Brante. The creature floats away, turns a corner, and is gone. Some tiny part of the woman you loved will remain in this world. Left a trace. Huh. I wonder what that means. You linger there for a time, staring at the empty street. Then you shake your head and return to reality. Elborn, the Prefecture. You need to hurry. Okay. Here we go. Sir Elborn's choice. Yes, I'm curious about this. Honestly, at this point, I'm just going with what Elborn does because, hey man, I fucking convicted an Archie and I feel like I did my job. It is noon. A large crowd has gathered in the Prefecture Square. The gendarmes form a line in front of the stairs, clutching their cudgels nervously. The commoners keep coming. The mob keeps growing. They call out to the windows of the Prefecture. Their screams are deafening. Elborn sides with the people. Gendarmes, judges, join us! The people need you. It's now or never. The rebelling citizens demand that the Prefect take a side. This decision must not be made without you. You have to get inside. You push your way through the dense crowd until you reach the gendarmes. Oh, Sir Brante, I thought you'd been captured. Men, let the judge through. Tell the judges to make up their minds. The people haven't attacked us yet, but you never know. The main hall of the Prefecture is stuffy and crowded. The din of voices is as loud here as outside. Almost every judge in the province is here now, save for those who stayed home or fled the city in advance. Most of them demand that the Prefect disperse the crowd. Augustin Elborn is on the podium in the courtroom, looming above the indignant judges. No, I will not sick the gendarmes on the people. It is a Prefecture's duty to listen to the Emperor's subjects, not force them to be silent. If we disperse this crowd, it will only fan the flames. And what of the Overseer's orders, Sir Prefect? We have to quash the revolt while we still can. Tell the gendarmes to do their duty and protect the city from those riots. Or do you want this so-called People's Court to hang us all? Have you forgotten about the last straw and that freak Sophia? They're executing people left and right, as though they're wielding the divine law. Do you really think you'll be spared? The judges applaud Fakagraben, even those you believe to be the Prefect's most ardent supporters. This unrest needs to be quelled with words, not clubs. If we turn this demonstration into a bloodbath, there will be no stopping the carnage. Elborn tries to respond, but cries of outrage drown out his words. The Prefect frowns in consternation. The wrinkles on his forehead grow deeper. He casts another glance around the courtroom and notices you standing in the doorway. I am supporting. Yes, yes. You start elbowing through the agitated crowd of judges and make your way up to the podium. You stand to Elborn's right. He acknowledges you with a friendly nod. Let Judge Brante speak. You address the judges. Sir Prefect is right. We need to talk to the people. We need to convince them. Every commoner knows the name Elborn. They respect the Prefect. They will listen to him. This is the only way to prevent more riots. The judges respond uneasily. Have you lost your mind, Brante? The revolt is already here. It can't be stopped. Wasting more time trying to convince the people is the same as helping the rebels. Enough, Sir Fakagraben. I'm still the Prefect. We will negotiate with the crowd outside. This is my final decision. The Prefect has managed to regain his composure and confidence thanks to your support. There are still disgruntled voices in the courtroom, but no one will dare to question his actions directly now. Only Fakagraben is still fuming. He stares daggers at you. Well done, Brante. You've finally shown yourself for the mangy cur that you are. You may have convinced the Prefect, but no true nobleman will ever side with you. You, Elborn, and the gendarmes leave the courtroom and step out into the stairs of the Prefecture. The mob clamors loudly upon your arrival. People of Anazat, you all know that I have fought for justice for the common people as the Prefect of Magra, and right now I'm asking you all to trust me. Do not take up arms. Do not listen to those last straw thugs. Do not riot or commit senseless acts of violence. Keep order in our city. Allow me to negotiate with Overseer Tempest. The mob buzzes again, this time in outrage. Whose side are you on, Elborn? The people's or the overseers? Are you telling us to bow down and wait for the Legion to come slaughter us? The prefect urges them to remain calm. You've already started this revolt and shown the overseer that times have changed. The common estate is a powerful force, a force to be reckoned with, a force to be negotiated with. But blood and death will change nothing. It will only bring the Legion down upon you and your families. I am totally with him. The crowd is split. Some continue to demand that the prefect take their side. Others, however, begin to shout in his favor, insisting that the revolt can be resolved peacefully, without bloodshed. The rebellious horde's former unity is no more. Oh no. Oh no. I know who this is. Elborn is about to give you a chance to speak when you suddenly hear hooves clacking toward the square, coming from the Silver District. The people at the edges of the mob begin screaming in terror. Confusion and fear ripple through the crowded square. The riders are coming! It's Otten and his noble militia! I knew it. The nobles aren't happy, but the common folk see us as their indisputable leader. It is now still daytime, but we're about halfway through the day. Prefecture under siege. Yeah, okay. The searing sun looms high in the sky above the rebellious city. The square in front of the prefecture is packed with commoners. Just a moment ago, they boldly demanded that the judges and gendarmes side with the rebellion, but now they are terrified. They fear the noble army that is coming for them. Their calls for rebellion are gone, replaced by frightened screams. God, this guy. Hooves thunder against the cobblestones. The earth quakes beneath their feet. The noble militia led by Dorius Otten carves a path through the human sea. The terrified rebels scatter as the riders approach. The gendarmes remain where they are, forming a tight circle around the prefecture and Elborn. The prefect calls out to the crowd, his voice hoarse. Okay. Everyone stay calm. Let them through. Do not draw your weapons. Otten's riders push the mob aside and eventually reach the tall building. The Archnean commander draws in his reins only when the gendarmes are all that separate him from the prefecture stairs. Prefect Elborn, how dare you disobey the orders of the province's rightful rulers? You have abused your position to appease the rebels and defy imperial rule. This inconceivable rebellion is your fault. It's time for you to accept your well-earned punishment. In the name of Archduke Melanidas, I hereby order you and your gendarmes to surrender your weapons. The supreme judge of the prefecture maintains his composure in the face of this recrimination. I only obey the laws of the Empire, Sir Otten, not you or your runaway Archduke. Otten's face contorts into a predatory grin. Excellent. You've had your chance to save face, old man. Instead of a dignified execution, you and your cronies will hang, like the foul rabble you've betrayed us for. Oh, fuck me. Otten lifts his sword skyward, prepared to order an assault. The riders behind him are about to attack. The gendarmes ready their clubs. Their hands are trembling. They will not stand a chance against the noble cavalry. The mob begins to shift, about to flee the square. The fate of this moment hangs by a thread. Overthrow Elborn? Hell no. Get Otten's army to abandon him. I kind of want to go with this one. I like this one. Yes. To everyone's surprise, you walk confidently through the ranks of the gendarmes. The riders notice your raised arm and rein in their horses. The noblemen who know who you are. You begin to speak, not to Otten, but to the militia. By the verdict of the Imperial Court, Otten has been stripped of his rank and disgrace. He no longer has any right to command the militia. The law of the Empire has spoken. Why are they not defying it? Flabbergasted at your audacity, Otten makes his horse prance, a menacing sight. Once a filthy commoner, always a filthy commoner, eh, Brante? Your preposterous verdicts mean nothing to true noblemen, and they never will. He only grinned at his words. True noblemen are free to make up their own minds. Auten is not their master. The riders grip their reins, hesitating. You speak to them again. Soon the city of Anazat will have a new order and new laws. There's no stopping it. Why follow a criminal and a fool who doesn't give a damn about their future? The revolt is about to prevail, and when it does, all who opposed it will hang, but those who accept the new order and fight for it will be pardoned. You swear on your noble honor. I vouch for the words of Judge Brante as the Prefect of Magra. Surrender to us, good sirs, and your lives will be spared. Oh god. Shut your traitorous mouth! Follow me, men! Cut these rebels down! The proud Archnean lifts his sword skyward and rushes at the gendarmes. Not one cavalryman follows him. Auten smashes into the gendarmes alone. He slices left and right with desperation so fierce it almost seems as though he might be able to break through the gendarmes' defenses single-handed. But not even his skill as a swordsman is enough to oppose a company of trained men. In the end, Auten finds himself knocked from his saddle and shackled. Fucking good! Cowards! Turncoats! You're begging for mercy from this pitiful rabble? You'll die in dishonor and suffer forever at the foot of the pillar. But the noble militia has already made its decision. Their commander has been disgraced, and their morale has crumbled. The riders surrender their arms. Auten will not receive the same mercy. After his prior crimes, Dorius Auten has committed new offenses against the subject of the Empire. His final trial awaits. The Prefect turns to you. Judge Brante, you're familiar with Sir Auten's crimes. What is your verdict? Oh, fuck. Fuck yes. Emmy, the time has come, finally. You pronounce your sentence. Auten is hereby sentenced to death by hanging. Let the people of Anazat see that there is one law for all. The mob around you explodes with elation at your words. Auten is stunned, shocked, unable to believe what is happening. Not a guillotine. Oh, sorry, we aren't French enough for you. He does not even struggle when the gendarmes throw the noose around his neck. The final realization dawns on the Archnean nobleman at the very last second. For the first time, terror flashes in his eyes. Brante! His neck snaps with a sickening crunch. Dorius Auten falls silent forever. Cries of victory fill the square. Crunch, that's right. You have executed not just an enemy of the revolt, but an Archnean and the former High Commander of Magra. Your verdict inspires the people with a sense of solidarity. In the blink of an eye, they arm themselves with wooden clubs, heavy sticks, and makeshift spears. The most audacious among them awkwardly try on the nobles' surrendered swords. The common people form squads and choose you as their commander. It is far too early to celebrate. You have only fought off one assault. Prefect Elborn finds you in the boisterous crowd. Oh, good. Getting a lot of loyalty here. Lucius, your courage has saved the Prefecture. I'm with you until the end. Whatever you need from me, you will have it. We need to hurry now. A noble militia we've seen in the city pales in comparison to the forces of the Legion. I'll gather our forces at the Prefecture and establish a unified command structure. You should find Abbot Leonard and aid him in any way you can. His procession must be en route to the Silver Tree by now. The enemies of the New Faith are waiting there, weapons in hand. They'll massacre each other if we don't stop them, Brante. This city is a powder keg with a short fuse. More fire and blood is the last thing we need. What we need is more allies, and having Leonard on our side is crucial. We need a spiritual leader who can unite the city against the Legion. Dead! Good. You nod to Elborn. The fate of the feud between Two-Face hangs by the clash at the Silver Tree. You have to be there. You wish the Prefect best of luck with his work, and then muster your loyal forces and head for the temple. Oh. Rebel! Okay. Oh, we have peace! We actually have peace! We might get to triumph of the law. I'm totally okay with that. Okay, we have a regiment of troops. We have cautious support from nobles, and we are still the indisputable leader of the common folk. Okay, I'm liking how this is playing out. I'm not sure if it's gonna stay this good though. I take the side of the revolt. Yeah, I mean, like... Yeah. I just don't want it to be violent. Ooh, okay. Okay, So for peaceful victory, I need revolt to be 6. I need clergy to be good. Oh man, I gotta like make everyone cooperate. That's what I have to do to reach peaceful victory. I'm going to try that to the best of my ability, but if I have to, military victory is still doable right now, so... An enormous sea of humanity flows through Anazat, filling the streets of the Temple District. They are led by Abbot Leonard. The new believers walk peacefully behind him, many of them women and the elderly. They are unarmed. Their faces show neither fear nor anger. They are so drastically unlike the throngs of rebels who are currently ransacking streets and looting noble houses. The procession slowly makes its way toward the temple at the Silver Tree. The temple has always been where patriarchs of the church accept their sacred duty, along with the heavy burden of responsibility for their flock before the twin gods. When a patriarch speaks, the twins pay heed, and every 8 years it falls upon the patriarch to proclaim in their sight how their world is humbly following the lot it has been given. Long, long after the twins descended to our world, the patriarchs came to be elected at the conclave by the clergy. This tradition has continued for many years. Today, dozens of priests have come to the temple in spite of the unrest to conduct the rite and spare the twins' world from their wrath. But now thousands of commoners are walking to the same temple to elect the new patriarch themselves. You and your followers take a side street to the temple, avoiding the immense procession. Is that Jean? Damn, she looks different, man. Soon the square by the tree is packed, teeming, overwhelmed. But the stairs to the temple doors cannot be reached. A stalwart phalanx of champions of faith blocks the way, with Jean in the lead. They are joined by the Inquisitors, those who have decided to walk the path of the old faith until the very end. I will not allow you into the temple, Leonard. These heretics will not make you patriarch. Sorry, I kind of flubbed that a little. Father Leonard slowly begins to ascend the stairs. He does not argue with Jean. The abbot simply faces her with a humble smile and gestures at the people standing behind him. Doubt clouds the champions' faces. Leonard's procession is truly staggering. Even if they are mere commoners, even if they are unarmed and empty-handed, there are simply too many of them to be stopped by a few dozen old believers. Sister Jean, look at them. Are they truly heretics? All of them. They are just people, our brothers and sisters in faith. Why would the Inquisition treat us like enemies? We do not reject the twin gods, nay, we seek them with our every thought. You rejected the law of the younger when you chose to seek your own lusts. No, Jean. The only thing we reject is Azatius' error. Uncanny resemblance to Joan of Arc? Maybe. Is she? I don't know what Joan of Arc actually looked like. This argument has been going on for years, Leonard. I know each and every point you can make. Don't even bother. You will not enter the temple. I mean, like, if the media interpretations, okay. I mean, it's like she's on the ironic side of it if she's meant to be like an analogy to Joan of Arc, because I mean, she's like fighting for the old faith, you know? And all these people, you're just dragging them down to the foot of the pillar along with you. How can you still not understand this after so many years? What do you think you're doing, Leonard? Don't you fear the wrath of the gods? I do not, Jean. God, ow. Beard was tangled. Oh, you thought she was a rebel? Yeah, she's not. I do not, Jean. When I become patriarch, I will tell the twins that we still love and revere them, just as we always have, even as we seek a different path to them. The twins will hear us. They will listen. They will understand. There will be no wrath of the gods. Anti-Joan. Yeah, I know, right? The new believers heed Leonard's words. They begin to firmly ascend the stairs to the door of the temple. The champion's swords do not deter them. Jean watches the massive congregation approach her, her eyes filled with remorse. She raises an arm, about to give her final order. Champions of the faith! Protect the sacred temple! Fight to the bitter end! You reach the foot of the stairs as she speaks these words. This is your last chance to intervene. Save from bloodshed? Hell fucking yes, bro. Let's do it. There can never be peace between the Inquisition and the New Believers. Sister Jean is right. The dispute between them has been going on for years. Neither side will ever yield to the other. Right now, there is only one thing you can do. Rescue as many of them as you can from what is to come. You gesture to your followers hurriedly. Spread out and guide the people away from here, as many as they can. Go, in the name of the Younger. The champions of faith obey Jean's orders. They get into formation and begin advancing on the New Believers, weapons in hand. The unarmed mob recoils in fear, but those on the front row are pushed from behind and driven into the blades. Oh, fuck. Blood splatters onto the stairs of the sacred temple. A woman's voice lets out a shrill scream. Panic spreads throughout the mob like wildfire. Chaos fills the minds of women and men. They begin pushing, pulling, dashing, recoiling like frightened animals, and the warriors of the church keep advancing, unrelenting and lethal. Your men have reached the edges of the square. They try to guide the New Believers down back alleys, shouting, "Here! Over here!" But for many of them, it was already too late. A mighty gust of wind rushes over the square. It roars, howls, almost screams, filled with remorse, agony, and wrath. The earth begins to tremble beneath your feet. Before your very eyes, as though in some terrible nightmare, the roof of the sacred temple begins to shake, and the pillars start to sway back and forth. No! What is happening? The world is turned upside down, like a kaleidoscope shaken by a massive hand. For several seconds, everything blends together. You fall flat on your back. Slowly, you come to your senses. You're surrounded by dozens of bodies and chunks of rock. What the? Where the temple at the Silver Tree once stood, there is nothing. The grand, majestic structure is no more. It has been leveled to the ground. Remnants of its walls and roof are scattered across the square. The stairs that once lead to it have been ground into gravel. A cloud of dust slowly settles upon the square. After the dust comes the leaves. Thousands and thousands of leaves shed by the Silver Tree. They cover the corpses of the truly dead like a pale white shroud. The entire square glows as the bodies of those yet to be reborn dissolve into nothingness. There are so many that the light stings to your eyes, even though this thick dust that hangs over it's all. Even though there is thick dust, okay, whatever. Just how many people met their deaths today? Sister Jean and her warriors are gone, buried beneath the rocks. The order of the Inquisition in Anazat is finished. You stagger to your feet and go to where you last saw Father Leonard. You soon spot the edge of his once white cassock, pinned by a chunk of broken pillar. It takes all your strength to roll the heavy stone away and drag the abbot out from under the rubble. Leonard is wounded, but conscious. He looks around, trying to understand what has happened, and then slowly falls to his knees. A loud groan escapes his lips. Blood and tears trickle down Leonard's face, mixing together. Oh god. The abbot chokes on the dust. His eyes are fixed on the remains of what was once his temple. The bare branches of the tree piercing the sky like swords. I was wrong. I was wrong. The gods, they wouldn't listen to us. They rejected our faith. What do I do now, Lucius? What do I do? My temple. How will we live now? There's no hope left. This is the end. Leonard's words become incoherent, descending into a frantic babble. You speak to the abbot, trying to console him. All is not lost. You managed to save many people. You are not sure he can hear you now. Defeated. But you cannot wait for him to come to his senses. You have to take the lead. So you begin mustering your forces and getting ready to move to the Empire Square. Enormous crowds of people are already on their way there, about to choose the leader of the Anazat Rebellion. The sun slowly begins to set. Dead. She's fucking dead, yeah. Okay, clergy has trust, that's good. We're on our way to a peaceful victory then. Ooh, it's evening. Oh, fuck. This shit's wrapping up real quick. What are the conditions for peaceful victory? Let me check on that. Okay, Revolt has to be at 6. I just need Revolt 6, Power 3 or 4, and I need to lead the Revolt. I think I'm deciding who leads the Revolt right now. The sun is setting. The blood-red sky quavers? Okay. In the hot smoke from the fires raging throughout the city. You cannot help but recall a passage from the lives of the twins, one of the many pages mothers used to quote when you were a child. And the elder said, "Lo, I have cast a flame into the world, and I shall guard it until it begins to blaze." Quakers, that's right. Could this passage be referring to today? You lead your followers to Empire Square. You walk around rubble, past abandoned carriages and unfinished barricades. There have clearly been clashes here recently. The dust of the departed is still rising into the sky. Thousands fill the square before the Chancellery. Well over half the commoners of Anazat. The Chancellery has been under rebel control since noon. All Imperial officers either fled or were torn apart by the mob. Scraps of rumors and gossip reach your ears as you move closer. Need water real quick, sorry. I'm getting like so into this, I'm like talking really dramatically and that makes my throat get hoarse. Oh look, now she's easy to find. Look at that. She's just there. Alone. That fucker. The grand finale. I know, right? I mean, like, I'm genuinely saying this shit, like, excitedly. That's just how it's coming out of my mouth. Oh, I need to open the gate, because the pugs are probably upset. Hold on a second. Yeah. Pugs were locked out of the room. They were not happy. But now they are. Look, they're getting on their bed. Just plop down next to Zelda. That's perfect. I don't know where Rolls. Whatever. Anyway. Did you hear what happened at the Great Tree? It's the Inquisitors. They just started slaughtering folks. They grabbed them swords of theirs and started killing unarmed people. Ah, Zelda no longer alone, yes. Leonard's procession made it to the temple. There was a sign from the twins. All lies. The twins got angry and destroyed them all under the tree. The temple's gone, I tells you. Gone for good. The crowd is on edge. No kidding. Grab doggo. Which doggo, wife? Any dispute could explode into a brawl. A voice from the Chancellery stairs calls for another people's court. The mob churns as one. Several last straw rebels drag a handful of well-dressed nobles out into the steps and force them to their knees. Will I actually get one? Yes. Rocky? Well, perfect. He's there. I'm gonna get him. Alright, here's Rock. There he be. That's Rocky. Okay, that's enough. Oh, you took my phone with you. It's okay, Rock, don't worry. I know you didn't mean to. Right next to Zelda. Yeah, she came in here. I showed her on stream. You can ask the other viewers. It's not my fault you weren't watching. Several last straw. Oh, yeah. The leader of the executioners is a preacher with a mane of unkempt hair and the wild eyes of a lunatic. Yeah, that sounds about right. Father Fwad. Okay. The younger, he speaks through us, he does. He gave us the power of his law, the power to punish our enemies, to execute them. Anyone who stands in our way is an enemy of the twins themselves. People, it's time to judge these enemies of the simple folk. What is your sentence? The mob roars so loudly the square shakes. Death! True death! The last straw rebels ready their guns. One of the captives gets to his feet and speaks out defiantly. Who the fuck is this? El Liberius? I feel like I've heard that name before. You dare call this pathetic freak show a people's court? You don't have the power. You never have and you never will. You think you can wield the law of the twins? Bah! We'll come back and we'll make you pay. The aged nobleman's last words are drowned out by a thunderous volley of gunfire. One by one, the nobles collapse, their bodies pierced by bullets. They remain where they fall. The mob gasps in amazement. There can be no doubt. The People's Court has the power to mete out true death at will. This is what will happen to anyone who dares to oppose us. All hail the revolt. All hail our leader. All hail Sophia. Sophia's gonna lead us. She's gonna fend off the Legion. She's gonna bring justice. First to Anazat, then to the whole Empire. She's gonna tear down the old ways and wipe all them tyrants and nobles from the face of the world. Who's Sophia? She's like the leader of the violent rebels. That's who she is. I actually met her earlier in the series, and it was like when I had to make the decision to be, you know, a commoner, a priest, or a nobleman, she was basically there just like, join me, become a rebel, we'll bring down the tyranny together, you know. I said no. The mob explodes into an ecstatic chant. They shout one word over and over again. Sophia! I don't know how they're saying it. Sophia! The enormous throng bellows wildly, eager to see the face of its leader. Okay, I mean, like, that's kind of what I want, right? Is to overthrow Sophia. Yeah. Have her execute. That's a bit far. But I would like to, like... okay, that's if she wasn't existing. I have to execute her. That's what I gotta do. I can choose to not get involved, but I'm not doing that. Sophia. Uh-huh. Yes? Oh, you're saying that was their chant, probably. You make your way through the crowd and reach the Chancellery stairs. Your silhouette seems to blaze in the light of the setting sun. You raise a clenched fist into the air, demanding silence. Your voice booming, you make your proclamation. Sophia is no longer the leader of the revolt. I, Lucius Brante, lead you now. The people freeze in astonishment when they hear this. A murmur of discontent spreads throughout the crowded square. Who does this Brante guy think he is? We follow Sophia, not you. The discontent grows, but you refuse to relent. Sophia was leading our city to destruction, slaughter, and death. Had she remained in charge, it would have meant suffering for us all. You are gathered here not to revel in revenge or destruction. For the first time in history, you have what it takes to lay the foundation of a new world. A world where justice is the same for all. Where all estates are equal, where we are free of the lots. You will defend this city. You will fend off the Legion. You will persevere and show the Empire that you are a force to be reckoned with. And once they finally realize they have no choice but to reckon with you, they will reckon with all the commoners of the Empire. Sorry, wife sent me a text. You end your speech exhausted and hoarse. I know the feeling. The murmur fades away. All fear and uncertainty are gone. The thousands of people in the square are no longer suspicious of you. They are hopeful once more. You can see it in their eyes. Then come the first shouts. Lead us, Brante! We're right behind you. Brante! Lucius Brante! Was that better, Emmy? Did I do better? Suddenly a loud, shrill cry resounds behind you, cutting through the cheers. Traitor! Death to the traitor Brante! Oh yeah, I forgot she had magic. That wasn't better, I'm sorry. It's okay. The crowds fall silent. All eyes are on a figure descending the Chancellery stairs. Twin sepia flames... Sepia? Sepia? Sepia. I always said sepia, but I don't know if it's sepia now. Twin sepia flames smolder in the young woman's eyes. Brante is lying to you, people. If you what is this? Why are you showing me this, Steam? I don't want to see that. Thank you. Whoops. If you follow him, you'll be slaves until the end of time. Don't you know that our enemy can't be bargained with? First, they'll throw us a bone just to restore order, and then they'll get even stronger and tighten the nooses around our necks. We can't reason with them. We have to destroy them. Today is the first day of a new era. We begin by taking back our city. We will eliminate anyone who dares to stand in our way. Then we will declare war against the old regime. Against the entire empire. No mercy. Got my throat. Alright. I think I've actually upset Hunbun, so I don't want to do that. I was playing around, but if she's actually upset, I will do this for her. Okay. So, I already showed her earlier, but here she is again, the big chonk. Look at that big belly. Ooh, that's a big belly. You got a big belly. She was looking right at me. God, so thick. So thick. Look at those arms dangle. She looks miserable. Oh, man. Oh, man. Wife, I really hope you watched. I really hope you saw it this time. Please tell me you did. Are you here? Speak to me. Good. Alright. Well, I did the thing.
Oh god, she's clawing the shit out of me! No, I know.
Anyway. Upon hearing these words, even the most frantic rebels fall silent. A frightened murmur ripples through the crowd. Is Sophia asking them to take on the entire world? Sophia raises her arms skyward. Her eyes are like two blazing suns. Anyone who turns tail and runs is an enemy of the revolt. Our enemy! The crowd remains silent, transfixed by Sophia's glowing gaze. No one will dare to utter a word against her now. Man, I saved her life as a kid. I kind of regret doing that now. Twice! I saved her life twice! This is your last chance to take action before the entire mob turns on you. You take a deep breath and scream at the top of your lungs. She's a witch! It's all witchcraft! Sophia's using magic to control your minds! Incredulous murmurs spread throughout the crowd. You shout as loud as you can. Sophia's just as much of a tyrant as those she wants you to overthrow. She'll take away your old shackles and replace them with magical ones. She doesn't care about the people. She only wants one thing: to watch the world burn. The thousands of eyes around you no longer reflect Sophia's golden glow. Confusion spreads among the people. Who should they listen to? Then the shouts begin. Burn the lying witch! She wants us all dead! Typical women are witches. I mean, like, I have to assume power, I mean. Desperate for support, Sophia glances back at her gang. Enough of this. Kill Brante and his lapdogs. Damn, I thought we were buds in the past, you know? Like, she doesn't even acknowledge that we were buds. We were, like, real buds. It sucks. The time for words has passed. The last straw soldiers reach for their guns, but you are already shouting orders. Your battalions advance on them. The mob is split by the ensuing chaos. Some commoners defend Sophia's cause, while others side with you. More still flee the square as fast as their legs can carry them. The last straw. Ready, aim, fire! Rebel squads dash out of the chancellery, firearms in hand. The volleys come in quick succession. A hail of bullets hits the square, sparing no one from either side. Commoners trying to escape die along with your soldiers. Jesus fuck. Dozens of people fall to the ground in the mindlessly jostling throng, only to be trampled by the fleeing horde. Blood runs down the cobblestones. The corpses of those killed dissipate in shimmering mist. battle is a short one. The firearms hold back your assault, the enemy's bullets taking your men out one by one. But you outflank Sophia's forces and engage them in hand-to-hand combat. The surviving insurgents drop their weapons and beg you not to execute them. They're willing to fight on your side and hand their leader over to you. Sophia is quickly bound and hurled to the ground at your feet. The rebel leader glares at you from behind a mass of tangled hair. You remind the wounded soldiers that time is of the essence. You must dispose of Sophia for good. The time has come for the People's Court. You command your squad to stand Sophia against the wall of the Chancellery and take aim. Sophia scrambles to her feet with difficulty. Her face is a hideous mask of bruises. Too bad it took me so long to figure out what you really are, Brante. Too bad. But this ain't over yet. Before you know it, you'll be burning in the fire I started. You and this whole ugly world. Bitter tears run down Sophia's cheeks. For a split second, you see the frightened girl from next door, pursued by terrifying horsemen. You cut Sophia off and address what remains of the mob. It is time for Sophia to stand trial. They will judge her in the name of the people of Anazat. This woman was plotting to destroy the city and start a bloodbath that would doom us all, commoners and other estates alike. For the sake of the people, Sophia must be sentenced to true death. People of Anazat, what say you? Death! A volley of gunshots. Sophia is hurled against the wall. Shaking violently, she collapses to the ground. Her eyes, which had shone with a livid yellow glow just moments ago, are extinguished forever. The soldiers slowly lower their firearms. You turn to the silent crowd. The verdict of the People's Court has been carried out. The citizens have saved Anazat from death and destruction. Tonight we must also save it from the Legion. We will no longer be led by Sophia's blind hatred. We will stand firm. We know what we are fighting for. You see hope return to the faces of the disconcerted people. They were shaken by Sophia's death, but you showed them a new goal, and they have cast their fears aside. Lead us, Brante! Even the old guard of the last straw who have always been loyal to Sophia will follow you now. The Revolt City has accepted you as its new leader. Meanwhile, the watchmen at the gate bring news. The Legion is only a few hours away. The final battle is drawing near. Will the outcome of the revolt be decided in combat, or is there a peaceful solution? It all depends on the actions you take in the coming hours. Okay. Indisputable leader. The revolt isn't doing too hot. What do I need? Okay, I will be leading the revolt, but I need more power, and I need the revolt to be stronger, I guess. How do I get power? Okay. Commoners in power, I see. Nice. It's now night. Great. You need to level up to increase my power attribute? You're right, Wolfie. It is mere moments from midnight. The glow of the shining pillar is barely visible behind the crimson clouds coming in from the north. But the darkness hanging above the city is dissipated by countless lights. Crowds of people holding torches, stakes burning in the squares, houses in flames. The glow of the fires can also be seen from beyond the city walls. The Legion marches down the road, inexorably approaching the gate of a city in the throes of rebellion. The final battle draws near. All the forces that have chosen to defy the Emperor and the Empire the Overseer and the Empire flock to the city gate, where you have set up your base. The soldiers of the last straw assemble commoners into squads and hastily arm them. Other rebels are led by nobles of the Mantle and former members of the Legion who have joined the revolt. The priests who have sided with you will spread the word of the twins from the city walls, attempting to convince the Legion soldiers to retreat and allow the people of Anazat to be free of the lots. Preparations are also in full swing at the camp of the defenders of the Old Order, who have established a foothold in the ruins of Char Melanidus' palace. Soon their fate will be decided. Will they crush the revolt with the aid of the Legion, or be crushed themselves by the new era? There's almost no time left. Just enough for one last attempt to tip the scales in your favor. Will you spend this final hour appealing to one of your allies for help? Or will it be wiser to wait and muster your forces for the final battle? Will you attempt to defeat the Legion and the Overseer's army in combat, or persuade them to retreat without engaging in battle? The fate of Anazot is in your hands. Okay. So... we might need to just try to take down the Legion. I mean, at this point... let's try it, let's try it, let's try it. I'm gonna muster my forces. This will help me win over the nobles who have yet to choose a side. Okay, I'm doing it. This day has already turned out to be the most arduous of your entire life, and the hardest part is yet to come. You need to take advantage of this lull to clear your mind. Who knows, perhaps your inner strength is what will decide the outcome of the coming clash. You walk away from the army's noisy preparations, sit on a parapet, and watch the city burn. Off in the distance, you can just make out the district where you were born and raised. Your memories bring you back to a time when you first walked these streets. In your mind's eye, you see young faces of Tomas, Stefan, Gloria. But that is all in the past now. Okay, my willpower is strong, that's good. Midnight strikes. You can hear the menacing tread of the Legion outside the city walls. The time has come. You order your troops to assemble and prepare to defend the wall. Damn it, I need more troops. This isn't gonna go well. The battle for Anazot, oh fuck. Oh shit, oh fuck. The dark void beyond the walls of Anazot is lit by hundreds of lights. Heavy boots tread the soil, armor clanks, halberds gleam, drums beat a lively march. Lit by the glow of the torches, the Magran Legion approaches the city walls. The Imperial army finally arrives to put an end to this unfathomable revolt. Gaius Tempest himself leads the Legion. It is the Overseer's duty to crush the revolt this very night and pacify the city before news of the incident spreads throughout the Empire. If the Overseer's hesitation allows the revolt to last even a few days, it could jeopardize not only his position, but even the fate of the entire province that has been trusted to him. An entire city rebelling against Imperial rule. Nothing like this has happened for generations. But what is afoot within the walls of Anazot? The decisions you made today have left the city in a state of chaos and unrest. The defenders of the Empire are not strong enough to crush the revolt and disperse the armed crowds. But the leaders of the revolt have not managed to unite the insurgents under a single banner either. Neither side has the upper hand. Fuck. Riots and fires continue in the streets. Many commoners have decided to use this opportunity to exact personal revenge or loot homes and businesses. However, fear of the punishment that will befall them if the Legion wins is still strong among the simple folk. However, the main forces of the revolt maintain order in their camp with a firm hand. There are still many insurgents who are ready to fight to the true death for their cause. I need those soldiers. The soldiers of the last straw, reckless conspirators and dangerous fighters taught by Sophia to struggle against the old order until the bitter end. Zealous new believers who would rather face execution than betray their faith. Poor nobles and former Legion soldiers who have joined the revolt in violation of their oath of loyalty to the Empire. They know there will be no mercy for them, so they have nothing to lose. All the remaining rebel forces gather at a fortified base by the city gate. The rebels have surrounded it with barricades, preparing to repel an attack from either side. The soldiers of the revolt, some armed with spears and axes, some with firearms, and some with simple rocks, hastily assemble atop the walls. The Legion gets into formation at the front of the gate, ready to begin the assault as soon as their commander gives the order. The defenders atop the walls respond by raising their firearms. A herald from Gaius Tempest comes forward, stopping mere steps from the gate. He loudly proclaims the Overseer's demands. My subjects, lay down your arms this instant and open the gate. I know that you have been deceived by the insurgency. You have my word as an Archaean ruler that I will spare anyone who aids the Legion and turns over the leaders of the revolt. Should you disobey this order from your lawful ruler, none of you will escape disgrace, execution, and eternal torment at the foot of the Shining Pillar. The Legion Herald proudly lifts his head, awaiting the rebels' decision. You cast a quick glance at your allies. Yep. The time for preparations has ended. Everything depends on the size of your army and the balance in the city between the forces you have managed to win over and those you have antagonized. The next hour will determine your place in history. Yep. 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 Yup. 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 The soldiers on the walls freeze in anticipation, awaiting your decision. For the last time, you consider the consequences. The fate of Anazot depends on your reply. Only option? Yes, but you have to consider I do have, like, a free death, I believe. Like, I think if I die here, that's not exactly the end, but we'll see. Blah, blah, blah. You look back at your rebel troops, their numbers greatly depleted. You look back at your city, where many have turned their backs on you. Some because of your actions today, others out of a fear of the punishment they will inevitably face for rising up against the Empire. But there is no turning back now. You know your answer. From atop the city gate, you proclaim that the Overseer no longer has any subjects in this city. From this day forth, Anazot is free. Behind you, you hear the loud roar of those who still support you. We're not your servants anymore! Get lost! The Herald silently retreats to the Legion formation. There's a brief moment of quiet. Holding your breath, you watch the menacing enemy army. Finally, the silence is broken by a drum roll and the stamping of thousands of feet. The Legion is about to attack. To arms! Charge! Take the city! The Overseer sends his first battalions at the walls closest to the gate. The Archnean remains with his elite cavalry, observing the assault from afar. The fortress of Anazot has withstood many an assault. These stones saw many battles before the foundation of the Empire. The Legion, on the other hand, rushed here equipped with nothing but jerry-rigged siege ladders. You still hope to stand your ground. Gaius Tempest needs to pacify this city this very night. Therefore, his soldiers will try to make their way over the wall, open the gate from inside, and let the main forces in. You cast a glance at your soldiers, contemplating your next move, but you suddenly hear cries of terror, the clattering of hooves, and the clanking of armor from your camp at the gate below. The enemy is attacking from the rear! If your defenses are broken from the inside of the city, you are doomed. Gathering your soldiers, you dash down to the barricades protecting the gate. Beneath the banner of the Empire, squads of militiamen led by local nobles are assaulting your camp. It pains you greatly to see so many poorly armed commoners among their ranks. They echo their commander, screaming, "The twins are watching us! Death to the rebels!" I don't know if this is going well at all. You hurry toward the fortifications. The defenders repel the first onslaught with great effort. For now, the barricades have kept the enemy from reaching the gate, but your strength is quickly running out. Meanwhile, up on the walls, you can already see the Legion's siege ladders. Your voice is hoarse, but you keep shouting orders. Hold the barricade! Freedom or death! The noble cavalry suddenly emerges from the darkness, striking your right flank. You rush to stop them, but it is too late. The mounted soldiers have already bashed the barricades and burst into your camp. Your defenses have fallen. All hope is lost. Your soldiers scatter, terrified by the furious horsemen. Ragged and covered in blood, barely able to stand, you lead the few rebels still ready to fight to the end. Falling into formation, you aim your weapons at the cavalry as it charges you. The horsemen slam into your squad like an avalanche, crushing it. You are knocked off your feet. You no longer have the strength to get up and continue the fight. That's him! That's Brante, their leader! A gang of commoners run up to you and bind you hand and foot. I thought I was gonna die. Lying helplessly on the ground, you lift your gaze. The Legion's vanguard has already decimated the resistance on the walls and is now opening the gate. The few surviving rebels dash from the gate and try to escape down back alleys. The gate swings open, creaking loudly. On the other side, you see the fluttering banners of the approaching Legion. The victorious Imperial army cries in unison, "We won! We won! Long live the Emperor! Death to the insurgents! Put them to trial!" Great. Accompanied by the clanking of armor, the Legion battalions enter the city one after another. At the head of the cavalry, Overseer Gaius Tempest imperiously passes through the gate. "Punitive battalion, pacify the city. These streets must be completely free of rebels by dawn. First, we must be sure to dispose of all their leaders. Bring them to me." Wounded and bound, you are thrown at the Overseer's feet. "Your Grace, this is one of their leaders, Lucius Brante." The other leaders of the revolt are shoved to the ground by your side. You exchange grim looks with your comrades. "Madmen, what were you hoping for? The Empire is great and eternal. Why did you defy a force that can crush any of you in an instant?" You remain silent, looking the Overseer straight in the eye. "I was not your enemy. I've always cared for my subjects. I gave you a path to salvation, but you spurned my gracious offer. Now you face just retribution at my hands. Hang them." The Overseer watches without pleasure as hastily made nooses are thrown around your necks. Well, I think this is the end of my story. Shit. For high treason and mutiny against the lawful and sacred authority of the Blessed Archnean Empire, I, Gaius of the Tempests, Overseer of Magra, hereby sentence you to true death. May your execution serve as a lesson to all those who dare consider themselves above the divine order. You think back on the years gone by, all the difficult choices you had to make, all the actions that led you here, everything you fought for, everything you strove for, all that is behind you now. Your destiny has been fulfilled. Shit. The Legion soldiers pull on the rope. Your body is jerked upward, no longer under your control. Your neck snaps with a sickening crunch. Your life and suffering have ended. You are whisked away toward a blinding light. I have died. Well, all right. What happens now? I am now going to face the judgment of the twins. Okay.
Neither side could overcome the other. The fire of the revolt could not be extinguished. The province, and then the whole empire, fell on troubled times.
Whew. When the moment of truth came, there was no soul in Anazat strong-willed enough to spearhead the raging revolt. The opposing factions soon reached a stalemate in which neither side could prevail completely. Anazat refused to surrender, but after a prolonged siege, Gaius Tempest finally broke the city's defenses, and the Legion entered the rebellious city of Anazat. The insurgents fled. The mobs disappeared from the squares and the streets. The leaders of the revolt were hanged. But the city's capture made even more trouble for the Overseer. The unrest was beaten down, but not suppressed completely. New riots followed one by one, as the common folk, the new faith priests, and many nobles of the mantle continued to wage a desperate struggle against the old authorities. Gaius Tempest responded to the seething rebellion with more executions and threats, but dissent continued to grow. As the unrest in the city smoldered, the rest of the Empire eventually caught wind of the Anazat revolt. Nearby Magran towns and villages saw their first riots soon after. Chaos began to spread across the Empire. The Empire responded to this enduring turmoil with ruthless action, but even after several villages and towns were drowned in blood, the riots only intensified. The dominance of the Emperor and his dynasty began to wane. Power struggles broke out between the powerful nobles in the capital. Then, a shocking event that shook the Empire to its core. Emperor Uther II was found dead in his palace, never to be reborn. His heirs, Geryon and Flavius, both disappeared without a trace. With no one to take the throne, the noble dynasties accused one another of plotting against the Tempest's rule. Feuds and internecine strife became commonplace. And so began an age of anarchy, a time of massacre and riots, conflict and bloodshed, chaos and unrest. There were no winners in this war of all against all, only survivors. The Empire entered a dark and terrible age. Hey man, if the Emperor just didn't fucking like kill us all, it could have been okay. The power struggle in Magra continues. None of the factions are strong enough to prevail over the others. The estates are locked in a civil war. The common folk have rebelled against the rule of Gaius Tempest, and the nobility has been shattered into feuding camps. Animosity and strife have taken over. If this continues, Magra could remain divided for a very long time. The clash between the old faith and the new continued. As the schism in the clergy grew, the people of Magra remained similarly divided. Neither doctrine has enough power to prevail over the other, so the venomous accusations and fervent disputes continue. The Inquisition is powerless to end the struggle. The strife between the faiths will continue to fester. The people of the province and the Empire will never be at peace until they decide which path of worship is the one that leads to the twins. The farmers, miners, and tradesmen of Magra managed to survive the years of unrest. Once those dark days were behind them, they quickly recovered. That's good. The fields filled with imported soil continued to supply the people with food, and the Magran silver mines maintain a steady flow of the blessed metal to the rest of the Empire. Whatever happens next, the province is safe from poverty and hunger. After years of unrest and strife, the people have grown harsh and bitter. The rebellion survives in the province's smaller villages and towns. Now and again it manifests itself as petty acts of violence and insubordination. As respect for imperial law dwindled, gangs of criminals began to form and grow in power. Although the city of Anazat and the rest of Magra are mostly calm now, the new age has brought neither order nor peace. Turmoil still simmers beneath the surface, ready to spill out onto the streets at the slightest provocation. For many years after the revolt in Anazat, the people of the Empire told the tale of how the Elder Twin himself visited the mortal world once again. He donned the guise of a common mortal to seek the truth of his own creation and settle a dispute with the younger, but no one helped him find the answer he sought. And so, as the legend goes, the Elder Twin returned to the Shining Pillar, never to descend to the mortal realm again. Until the very end, the Archnean commander refused to acknowledge that the laws that governed the lowly lot held sway over him as well, and yet, thanks to you, he finally faced justice. The once renowned descendant of the Otton dynasty met an ignoble end on the gallows, a terrible blow from which his family never recovered. With the death of its last living son, the venerable Otton blood tide ran dry. Prefect Augustin Elborn never saw his lifelong dream to fruition. The revolt crumbled, and the long-awaited change it promised was cut short. He joined the rest of Anazat's defenders in the final fight. Yeah, I mean, like, that's like somewhat of a victory, sure. The prefect was captured and stripped of his noble title for the crime of treason, then hanged in disgrace. Elborn faced death with dignity and did not utter a single word of regret for what he had done. The former prefect is remembered as one of the leaders of the revolt, though he did not live long enough to witness the coming of a new age. Father Leonard, yeah. As one of the leaders of the rebellion, Leonard saw no mercy from the overseer. By the order of Gaius Tempest, he was arrested and handed over the Inquisition. They branded the abbot a heretic and sentenced him to be burned at the stake. He faced his suffering and death with dignity, never renouncing his beliefs. Leonard is remembered by the new believers as the greatest preacher of his day, but among old believers, he left an undying legacy as a nemesis of the Church who violated the twins' divine design. Ooh, Tomas, yes. By the time the revolt had set Anazat ablaze, Thomas Guerrero was already living a new life with his family far from the city. It seemed as though he could finally enjoy a peaceful life. But a few months later, the rebellion reached the sleepy village where your friend and his wife had put down roots. A horde of rebels approached the village where they lived, and most of the villagers joined them, eager to loot and pillage their very own community. Tomas fought desperately for his life and livelihood, but he was torn limb from limb by his former neighbors. Damn. Oh yeah. The creature that was once Octavia Melanidas left this world forever, but it honored your request and left something behind. Years later, new followers of the Lottari began to emerge throughout the Empire, forming new circles in which to study their strange teachings and seek a way out of the world the twins had created. One by one, they discovered scraps of knowledge scattered across the Empire. But only you knew where this knowledge had originated. Despite the persecution they suffered throughout the Empire, the followers of the Lottari refused to abandon their teachings. The Lottari have returned to the world. I guess that's good? Question mark? It was your duty to stop Sophia. The leader of the last straw was executed by your hand. Some remember her forever as a great freedom fighter who struggled for the good of the common folk. Others call her a vicious member who threatened to raze the Empire to the ground. The Brante family fell apart, rent asunder by squabbling and strife. Your family home grew desolate and empty long ago. None of you ever found a way to make peace, and in the end your old grudges were stronger than the blood you shared. You remained strangers for the rest of your lives. After his family fell apart, Robert Brante left Magra for the northern provinces. There, in another city, he found employment at the local prefecture as an assistant judge. This minor post allowed Robert to eke out a humble existence, far from any power struggles or social turmoil. His family woes, once the root of his unending suffering, were finally behind him, leaving him with nothing but bitter memories. He remained alone for the rest of his life and passed away in solitude. Your mother passed away from illness long before these events transpired. Yes, I was there. Lydia Brante was not there to see what became of her family. What about Gloria? Oh, Stefan. Having severed all ties with the family, Stefan had no reason to remain in Anazat. After abandoning his aspirations for the Brante bloodline, he fully dedicated himself to his own ambitions. Your former brother took on a new name, Stefan Elborn. He had moved to the capital and began working hard to earn himself a place in the Emperor's court. But in the end, Stefan was too plain-spoken to survive in the realm of courtly intrigue. His bold and ambitious nature swiftly earned him a plethora of enemies at court. Before long, he was falsely accused of plotting against the crown. Stefan's attempt to exonerate himself proved futile, and his life and honor met an ignoble end. Gloria's dream of becoming a full-fledged Brante was brutally shattered. The quarrel over her adoption ultimately tore the family apart. Her home and newfound family gone, Gloria left Anazat to escape her past and travel the Empire. She hoped to see the life of the common folk firsthand and transcribe the truth in her travel notes. The news of the revolt back in Anazat reached Gloria during her trip through the province of Illyria. She seized the opportunity right away and sparked an uprising against the crown among the local commoners. However, the province's noble militia swiftly suppressed the riots. Gloria was captured and sentenced to hard labor in the mines for life. But not even hard labor could stop Gloria. She did her best to inspire her fellow prisoners to rise up against their captors, but rather than share her fervor, the other laborers turned her in, hoping for a reduced sentence. Gloria fought tooth and nail against the old ways, but she did not live long enough to see whether or not her fruits ever bore fruit. Instead, she met a swift and ignoble end. Jeez. Whole family gets fucked. What became of Nathan? Dazed by the changes brought by the rebellion, Nathan Brante found himself completely lost in the world around him. As the burden of his past sins grew more and more unbearable, he retreated into his own mind until not even his own family could reach him. In the end, his despair drove him away from the family home. He roamed Magra as a vagabond, devoid of all purpose. Nathan wantonly squandered the rest of his lives one by one in meaningless fights. He died his true death in a drunken brawl in a filthy roadhouse, somewhere on the outskirts of Magra. Gregor's dead! Not even in the afterlife did Gregor Brante see the realization of his great dream. His descendants failed to have the Brante name ennobled by the sword. The Brante bloodline was denied its chance to become one of the Empire's most eminent dynasties. The blood tide ushered in by Gregor Brante would never have another chance at immortality. Okay, we got my judgment here, I guess. You are taken to the peak of the Shining Pillar. Every moment separates you more and more from the mortal realm. The link that once bound you to it is gone forever. You look up to see two divine visages watching you intently. The elder twin gazes upon you, full of sorrow and compassion. The younger examines you dispassionately, seeing your every act and thought. You have ascended from the mortal realm. From here you are but one step from partaking in eternal bliss atop the peak of the Shining Pillar. But first you must be judged by them, just as every other soul born in this world has been judged since time immemorial. Only their judgment can decide whether you deserve to remain atop the peak or be hurled down to the foot. You stand before the twins. Your very essence is laid before them, all the secrets of your inner self revealed in full. Your soul is like an open book to them, one that preserves the story of your entire life. Is that what we're reading? You lie prostrate before the gods. The time has come to take responsibility for your mortal life. And the elder twin asks, are you thankful to the gods for the life you live? Yeah. I think I'm calm. I lived my life. You hear their answer. Compassion and remorse fill the immeasurably deep eyes of the elder twin. He turns to face his divine brother, who returns his gaze with an expression of stern remorse. The elder twin asks once more, what was your life to you? I think creation. In my life, I created something new, something the world had never seen before. Yeah, I was trying to do equal rights, but it didn't quite work out. But that was what my life was to me. Rocky, calm down. Jesus Christ. The elder twin bows his head wearily, considering your response, but the stern visage of the younger already looms above you. Human by the name of Brante, what did you live for? Living by your beliefs. Freedom. A cause, I think. I think that's accurate. I yearned to do a great deed that would outlive me, yeah. That's true. The younger's gaze lingers on your bare, defenseless soul. The divine figure continues its stern interrogation. What did you leave behind? I did not bring order. I'm thinking legacy. I'm also thinking change. I was honestly thinking nothing, but I definitely left a mark. I think, yeah, legacy is a little more accurate. I have an important part of history, but I didn't quite incite change directly, so yeah, legacy. The younger twin now moves toward you with a clear intent, poised to render his judgment, but the elder twin restrains his brother with a gesture. A divine voice fills you once again. Did your life make the world we made better and more perfect? I do not know. That is not for me to judge. That is the most accurate answer, yeah. The younger twin is silent, his eyes two swords piercing your soul. The elder twin speaks to you again, but you already know the question, the very same question that caused you so much suffering shortly before your true and final death. What determined your destiny? Myself. The soul of a man named Brante lies prostrate at your feet. You have witnessed his entire life, known his every act, seen his every thought and desire. No other soul could ever walk the same path. So many difficult choices, so many emotions, so much pain. Another soul awaits your judgment. You know no mercy, nor does your brother. Every mortal must walk the path chosen for him to the very end. Those who abide by the precepts set forth by you and your brother shall return to you and become a part of you. Those who reject you shall know the eternal suffering of oblivion. Where does the man named Lucius Brante belong? I actually decide? I mean, like, even though I caused a lot of shit to go wrong, I was really always doing things with everyone's, like, the fucking nation's best interest at heart. The nation, people, I always tried my best to do what I thought was right. I think I belong in heaven. You gingerly grasp the fragile soul, lift it up, and turn to face your elder brother. You lift your sword. Your brother stands with arms akimbo, ready for the blow. I was murdered for revolting, yeah. The blade slices through his chest. Blinding light gushes from the gash. You bring the minuscule soul to your brother's chest, and it dissolves in the streams of shimmering luminescence. A tiny fragment of your shared creation has rejoined the whole. The man named Brante is no more. There's only the eternal fount, in which he now abides. Well, there it is, chronicling my whole life. Well, I mean, I'm not exactly happy with the outcome, but it was still, like, just a hell of an experience, man. I really wish I could have either won the revolt or resolved it peacefully, though. Yeah, it was a realistic ending. I will give you that. I mean, like, it's like, I'm not happy with how it ended, but I am satisfied with it, like, being a complete journey. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Honestly, I'm a little sad it's over. Sever. Oh, these are credits. Well, I mean, like, they set it up well for me to feel, like, satisfied, but maybe not quite content. Yeah, I mean, like, that definitely, it makes me want to do another playthrough. I got my air miles, I just didn't like the destination. That's a good way of putting it. I like that. But yeah, credits is usually where I rate the game, for posterity as well, for my own reference. Even if you died and didn't win, you lived a life. For sure, that's definitely true. But I'm gonna say, like I can't give this game anything less than an 8. And, like, it's just, like, the choices that have, like, actual direct impacts, you gotta really think about your choices. The choices require thinking. Like, you can't just, like, look at it, oh, this is the obvious. It's just, like, it was a very thought-provoking game. It was very well written. It had me enraptured right from the first 10 minutes. It has to at least be an 8. Of course, this type of game isn't for everyone. Like, it's basically a choose-your-own-adventure. It's a visual novel, whatever you want to call it. But, like, I think overall as a game, 8. But, like, for me personally, I'm going to give it, like, an 8.5. Maybe a 9. I'll say 8.7. Personal enjoyment, I fucking loved this. Do I think it had some flaws? Yes, there were some grammatical errors. No, but, like, I don't know. It just, it had me enraptured, but it didn't have me, like, fucking, it didn't have my jaw drop the whole time or anything like that. So I'm personally 8.7. As a game, I'm going to say 8. I played this well. I really enjoyed it. Like, this is an excellent game. I mean, like, I'll probably play it in my own time and, like, try to see some other endings. But even if I didn't get, like, a happy ending, I have no regrets whatsoever about streaming my first experience. I think this is the way I would have wanted to stream it. You know? By the way, raid Jose? Sure. Let's raid Jose. Yeah, that's it. I almost feel empty. Almost. But yeah, so, next week there will be no more Sir Brante. I'm a little sad about that, but I knew that was going to happen. I don't know. I really like this game. I really do. It's like a bittersweet type thing, you know? Well. Yeah. You'd watch this series again? Maybe I'll, yeah, you'd like me to see me play another similar game. I would love to do another, like, stream of a game like this. But, like, to do the same game again just feels like... I don't know. It kind of feels cheapened. I really like, y'all seeing the choices I make and watching the, you know, the consequences of my choices play out with me. You know? You say I read well? Well, thank you. I did that a lot for undergrad. It's not when I choose a different path. It's still like... I don't know. That's just not really what I want to do, I don't think. I mean, like, I understand what you're saying. But... it's just not the same. Like, the first experience is the best experience, I think. It's like the same thing with most games. You're just saying I could. Yeah. I think what I'm more likely to do is just check it out in my own time and talk to y'all about it. That sounds like a good time. But yeah, that's it from me for tonight. I would have done something else if we ended at like 8 or something, but, you know, 2 hours is fine. But, like Emmy said, I'm gonna raid Jose. She's a good bud. If you don't know her, why don't you by now? She's a really good bud, but I'm gonna send y'all that way. And, yeah, VOD viewers, I hope you enjoyed this series, even if I didn't quite get a conclusion that I'm sure most people would be happy with. I'm actually happy with how that ended. I mean, like, it felt like Emmy said, it felt realistic. It almost felt poetic, even, I think. But, yeah. Anyway, VOD viewers, that'll be it for Sir Brante. If you ever feel like talking about the game with me, I will always talk about this game. I'm not going to forget this game for a long time. But if you want to talk about it with me, hop in the Discord. Let's talk about it. We'll do whatever. But yeah, I'll see y'all next time. I hope you enjoyed. Bye, guys.